Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show podcast. Hello if you're new. So today's episode is going to be a review of Love Island 2020, episode 14. Obviously, what we are all basically awaiting was this recoupling. Who was going to go, who was going to get dumped, and whether they were going to leave together, depending on who it was. If Sophie got picked, would she leave with Connor? If Connor got picked, would she leave with Sophie? Obviously, we have the result. But let's just talk about kind of the decision process first. Obviously, during the show, it's either two options. Either they do that thing where each couple kind of texts and they tally up the votes, or they do the group huddling. And as soon as I knew it was a group huddling, I felt like maybe this is a bit of a setup. I felt like with a group huddling, it's more likely to go to Sophie's way, because even though she might have lost with the kind of couple vote, if they did it that way, there was a lot of strong personalities, aka Shauna, that probably would have swayed the group, and that probably might not have been the case if it was individual voting. So as soon as it was kind of the group vote, I was kind of thinking it's probably going to be Sophie. Obviously, Callum's back in Connor, Shauna's back in Sophie. So there's a thing where in a couple where it's like Callum and Shauna together, Callum's always going to go with what Shauna says. So that's another thing that kind of made me think. Obviously, Shauna's probably, one of the alphas in the house, the top people in the house that people look to, people respect. So I feel like her word is going to be stronger than anyone else's. So I was just thinking, it's got to be Sophie. And obviously, Mike was the one who delivers the news. He basically says that they're picking this islander because they feel like they would be more likely to be able to continue their time here and enjoy the experience. So instantly, I knew they were talking about Sophie. I feel like we all knew they were talking about Sophie. And obviously, once the news was delivered, obviously they say Sophie. And just the look on Sophie's face, I knew that she was not leaving. She looked down instead of looking at Connor. So that lets me know in her head, in her heart, she was already staying. Obviously, they had their little combo. She's like, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And the thing is, if you don't know what to do, then you're staying, period. She was asking Connor, what would you do if you were in my position? And it's a thing where, like, Connor didn't answer. And it's a thing where if she's asking, she was never going to do it anyway. So what's the point of saying, yeah, I would? It's just going to make me look bad. So obviously when Sophie asked Connor, what would you do? Connor's just like, it doesn't matter what I do. It's just about what you want kind of thing. And I feel like at this point, he kind of knew Sophie was not leaving with him. So she was just kind of leaving the door open. He didn't want to force it. It's just kind of like, obviously you'd want that person to leave with you voluntarily. There shouldn't be any sort of questions. And if there's questions, then, they didn't really want to leave. The people are speculating, is she going to leave? People are saying, like, no, she's not going to leave. Sean is saying, if Jess didn't leave with her twin, Sophie's definitely not going to leave. And, people are saying, if she really liked him, she should have left. Connor would have left with her, some whispers over there. What do you guys think? Obviously, I feel like the general consensus is nobody is actually surprised that Sophie did not leave with him. But do you feel like Connor would have left with Sophie? I don't know. I feel like a part of me is leaning towards yes. Because I feel like he was generally, even though, kudos to Connor, he, held himself well. He said that he wishes Sophie the best and, whether she finds somebody else or whether she waits for him. But I feel like you could see in his eyes he was a bit disappointed that Sophie didn't go with him. But what do you guys think? So obviously Sophie is saying, she's torn. She doesn't really know whether she should go or not. She doesn't know she's going to find another guy like Connor. And I feel like by day 2, I feel like she was fine. I feel like, obviously, I knew that she wasn't really going to leave. And I feel like the tears were genuine. Obviously, she probably does miss Connor. But it's not that type of miss where you are going to give up this opportunity and leave with him. So I think she's going to stay. Obviously, there's been people who have left, maybe a week after, 2 weeks after. There's been instances like that. Do you feel like there's a possibility that Sophie might leave later on down the line? Or whether she'll go the next episode or whether she won't go at all. Let me know what you think. So, an interesting development that we kind of saw in the episode, I think, was Leanne basically saying that, this couple being split has put things into perspective, and how she's not going to settle anymore, and if she's not feeling anything, then she's not going to force it, because, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, so she has to, live the opportunity to its most value. It was quite vague, and they kept cutting back and forth between, her in the confessional and Mike, maybe alluding to the fact that Leanne might be thinking of jumping ship. You know what? I feel like, yeah, in my earlier podcast, you all heard, you people who've been riding with me from the beginning, I did not like Mike. I was saying every episode, every podcast, Leanne needs to leave Mike. They need to bring in a new man for Mike. But I think that Leanne needs to be smart and just stick with this relationship. I feel like Mike has been behaving this past solid week. I think she just needs to ride it out. There'll be plenty of suitors for her to explore once she comes out of the villa. But for now, I feel like she should just stick with Mike. But what do you guys think? Do you think there could be trouble in paradise? Do you feel like Leanne could be someone who's coming back with a new fella after Casa Amor? Do you feel like, a new person? Obviously, we know there's new people coming in. Could they be ones to sway Leanne's head? What do you guys think? Are Mike and Leanne endgame in Love Island, or do you think they could break apart? And do you think them breaking apart could actually be down to Leanne instead of Mike? Obviously, Shauna is kind of hyping Sophie up, and she's being a good friend to her, but I kind of low-key feel like Shauna didn't necessarily like Connor and Sophie together. I feel like she's tried to split them up twice now, basically. Now she's been successful, but the first time she was kind of meddling in the relationship is when she told Connor to pick Sophie. So I don't think that Shauna liked Connor or liked Connor and Sophie as a couple. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Shauna was just being a good friend, or do you feel like she low-key didn't like Connor and Sophie together? Let me know. So Shanice and Rebecca decide to clear the air and hash it out with Jess as a kind of mediator. They hash it out. They both admit their wrongs. It's very grown, very mature. And yeah, I kind of respect Jess for coming in and mediating. She did a really good job mediating, very level-headed. They both said, we said our shit, we're sorry. Obviously we both agree that we're both open to getting to know Luke T, and it's not an issue. So yeah, it's obviously it's nice to see, Jess, not being this ditzy Blom character that she was trying to portray. It's nice to see that she actually has functioning brain cells. It's true that. And because some of these universities just be letting anybody in. Glad to see that she probably did work to get in. But yeah, I actually respect Shanice for admitting her wrongs, because, she didn't actually have to come up to Rebecca. This conversation didn't really benefit Shanice because she has the friendship group. The conversation only really benefits Rebecca. So, it's good for her to, she takes the back seat. I would have preferred if she was, came in a savage and stayed a savage 100%. But I think it's a smart move for Rebecca to squash the beef and be friendly with everyone, because, as we're seeing today, it could be the whole house voting you out. And if you get on the wrong side of too many key players in there, it's going to be your ass going home. So obviously next was the kind of challenge, and it was just a nasty challenge. They always have those nasty challenges where they're transferring food or liquid between each other's mouths. Things that I kind of noticed in the challenge is that Shauna has, quite a big mouth. It stretches very far. It was very impressive to see how wide her mouth stretched. And also Leanne, she cracked me up. I feel like that would be me in those challenges. I think maybe I could do solids, but liquids, nah, that's kind of saliva. We don't know what time of day they're doing those challenges. And you know how boys are. Some of them be lacking oral hygiene. So, liquid, I wouldn't be down for that. So obviously, Leanne now kind of reiterates to Naz, basically saying, she's not really sure about her feelings for Mike. Maybe this has made her realize that, her feelings for Mike aren't clearly as strong as Mike has for her. And that, if she thought about it, she wouldn't have left with Mike if it was him going. And first off, I feel like she's being truthful here. And, you've been here 2 weeks. Realistically, none of these guys are worth leaving, on week 2 when you could be staying till the end and having a 500k brand deal. None of these boys are worth it. Let's be honest. But all I'm saying is that sis should have kept that to herself. She should have kept that in her head. I don't know why she's spreading that around in the villa for that to get back to Mike. Naz is telling her maybe he should tell, these feelings that she has. And no, Leanne just needs to stay quiet. That's what she needs to do. She needs to stay quiet because she needs to play the game. Her and Mike are a strong couple. I just feel like if there's not a man that has come in to claim you yet, just keep it to yourself. So obviously next we have a text that a new boy and a new girl is coming in. We have a new boy, Wallace. We have a new girl, Demi, and they have 3 dates, and it's that kind of 3-course meal thing. And I just feel like they're doing all of these juicy dates so early on. I'm hoping that means it's because they've got some new innovative dates coming further along the series, but I'm not really sure why they're doing these dates so early on. Granted, last season was 8 weeks. This is only going to be 6 weeks, but I feel like they're churning out all of the best dates very early on. But what do you guys think? The new boy Wallace, he picks Shanice, Paige, and Sophie. And Demi picks Finn, Luke, and Naz. So obviously, we're all basically really excited for Naz. We're kind of interested to see if Sophie's going to get to know this Wallace guy. Obviously, they split it into 2 episodes. So I guess we'll see most of the rest of the dates in the next episode. Looking at the new boy and the new girl, they both are a decent looking pair of people. I feel like the girl is pretty. I feel like she kind of looks a bit like Paige, or is that just me? I feel like she kind of does. Wallace, he's decent looking. I like the accent. I think he's a bit tall. I think he's tall. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's tall. So yeah, I'm impressed with the selection this time. Obviously, we see Shanice going on a date with Wallace. The date looks alright. I'm not really sure about what the meal was being offering. Like, the meals look a bit dead, like prawns on toast with mushrooms. I'm not sure if I'd have that as a meal. But in terms of the date, it looked like it went pretty well. Perhaps maybe that could go somewhere, but obviously we'd have to compare that to the other dates to kind of really get a real idea whether, who would be interested in Shanice, whether he'd be interested in other people. We still need to see that. And then we see, obviously, Demi and Finn go on a date, and they seem to be getting on really well. They're basically the same age, and, their chat kind of flows naturally. And you know what? I feel like, the first date and stuff like that, it flowed naturally for Paige and Finn as well. I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe because it's fresh, maybe I'm thinking maybe Finn and Demi could be a thing. Obviously, I'm hoping she picks Naz. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think as Finn and Demi as a possible pair? And would you want to see Finn move away from Paige, or do you feel like Finn and Paige should stay together? Let me know what you think. Obviously, the reactions from the date. Luke says that, he's got competition. He's sweating a bit. Shanice possibly not being an option, which is, quite interesting. He doesn't really speak about Rebecca. He's all about Shanice. Is it the fact that because Shanice is on a date and Rebecca isn't, do you feel like he would be the same with Rebecca? Or do you feel like Luke T perhaps is leaning more towards Shanice? Let me know what you think. Paige, of course, is not happy. She's spying on them having a date, and, she's already making comments like, oh, he's mugging me off. I just feel like Finn was just enjoying his date. I'm not really sure why Paige is getting jealous. I can understand why she's getting jealous, but I'm still not really sure why she is jealous. Maybe it's because Finn essentially said that his eggs were all in her basket, but that was just still very early on. I don't even think they've been together a week yet, or just shy or over a week. So yeah, I think Paige definitely needs to calm down a bit. But what do you guys think? And then obviously in the first look, we see Leanne basically said that she's got the ick with Mike, and she said she doesn't want to be touched by him, she doesn't want to speak to him, she doesn't want to see him, and it's not looking good for Mike and Leanne. And I'm just like, Leanne, be quiet, please. Do you not know how to act? Do you not know how to fake things? Like, you literally got what? 4 more weeks left? You couldn't fake it for 4 more weeks, girl. I don't know. I guess it's her right. It's her right. If she doesn't feel the relationship, it is her right. But girl, you don't have options. Fair enough if this Wallace guy came and picked her for a date. Fair enough if this Wallace guy came, up to her afterwards and was like, what are you saying? But it's like, when you don't have any options to jump to, I just feel like you can either fake this relationship and hold down the ick, or you can have this ick from the comfort of your home. I just feel like Leanne just needs to be smart about this, regardless of her feelings for Mike, regardless of what anybody thinks about Mike. I just feel like the smartest decision for Leanne is to just fake it till you make it. And I'm a little bit disappointed. I really am. I thought like she would play a better game than this, and I was expecting her to. I've been trying to back her. People have been saying, she doesn't belong on Love Island. She doesn't know how to play the game properly, and I've been backing her. But it seems like she doesn't know how to play the game. But what do you guys think? I'm not sure if the producers will have her back if she wants to go rogue like this. I'm not sure. I feel like if she carries on like this, she'll be on her way home, because Mike will be able to find somebody new. But I feel like the only next option for Leanne to find a man will probably be in Casa Amor, and that's even if she lasts that long. But what do you guys think? So on Twitter, people are joking that Connor is probably outside spying on Sophie until he gets arrested. People are disappointed about the first look. People are saying that they love Leanne at the start, but now she's taking the piss. People are saying for the sake of Black, Leanne just needs to firm it. People are saying that Leanne should be honest to Mike. I felt like she should have just kept it inside and not told anybody. But the fact that she's now disgracing him in public, she just, it's going to find its way back to Mike, so she might as well now just say it. People are calling out Leanne for liking bad boys and not liking good boys. People are saying that Leanne is being disrespectful by not telling him privately. I have to agree. I just don't understand why she's telling everybody and anybody but Mike about her feelings. People are saying that Leanne is being rude again. Yep, it's just, the TL is just not looking like a nice place for Leanne. But yeah, that's pretty much the roundup of the tweets. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you thought of this podcast. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have subscribed, make sure you have your notification bell on so you know when the next podcast is dropping. Till next time, guys. Bye.